All right, what up? All right, I don't know if this mic's working. New mic. All right, what up, players? It is today is what day is today? Man, I just woke up. So today is Tuesday, the 7th of September. Holy shit, September already. And yeah, I think it is episode 162 of Player Life. So welcome to the stream. Um, who we got? Warrior Son of Wander in house says always up for more Player Life. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. I'm not sure if I got a new microphone. Upgrading. I don't know if this. I haven't experimented too much with it, but if you, hopefully you can hear me. I just plugged it in and started using it. didn't do any test runs or anything. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. But yeah, hope you're well. Hope all is good with you. All is good with me. Yeah, so today I thought of a topic. Is there such thing as free sex? And I don't know. I don't think there is, in a way. There's different ways you can pay for it, but we can get into that in a bit. Before that, I just want to share something. Okay. So, all right. So this was my workout yesterday. I said, if men are dealt shitty cards in life, they can make themselves great because men are made. That's why hoes mad when they see men coming up, because women just are. And yeah, that's kind of a cold, hard truth. If men are dealt shitty cards in life, they can make themselves, they can do a lot with those shitty cards because men are made. If you just sit around as a man and do fuck all, you're going to be a shitty man. But, if you're dealt shitty cards in life and you work hard and do your best, you can become something. But for the most part, in terms of the sexual marketplace, women pretty much just are, there's stuff they can do, they can, obviously they can do exercise, they can go to the gym and they wear makeup and whatnot, dress well, but in general it's kind of like they're given the cards are dealt. It's kind of like it is what it is. Yeah, need the coffee, need it. But yeah, here's me trying to become a better man, working out. Gotta be done. Outdoor workouts are the best. I don't know, I just like it. By the way, if anyone is in the chat, let me know if this microphone is better. I don't know. Should have done some test streams with it, but we'll see. We will see. I think you need a foam covering over it, but I didn't get that yet. But yeah, can't beat the calisthenics workout. Spark 55 in the house. What's up, brother? What's up? Hope you're well. All right. So yeah, that's me doing the chin-ups, 10 chin-ups. And it was raining. You can't really see there, but hail, rain, or snow. By the way, yeah, for anyone interested, highly recommend joining crypto mindset course. Charlie was cool enough to give me an affiliate link, so I think that is closing today. So if you want to join the crypto mindset course, click on my affiliate link in the description and sign up. Honestly, I've only applied a small amount of the information that was in the previous crypto mindset courses, and to be quite honest, I'm making some life-changing gains from it. So imagine what you can do if you pay full attention and you apply everything to the everything in the course. Man, I don't know, I'm going to be in it and I'm going to be paying attention. Absolutely. So if you're interested in getting your finances down and potentially getting some serious gains, or even just getting some gains, gain as I don't know if you guys know, but I'm sure a lot of you do know. It is a bull run, and it is a pretty special one at that. It's gonna be, it's gonna be, from what I hear, it's gonna be kicking off from October. So this crypto mindset course is actually, I have very good timing. I've been a part of the other crypto mindset courses. This one is very important because it's at a time just before the markets are really going to launch. So if that's something you're interested in, yeah, use my affiliate link. You will not regret it. I definitely have not regretted being a part of the previous crypto mindset courses. So let me just get the link for it. Where is it at? Yeah, but it's I don't know. Some people think crypto is too dangerous. They think it's too good to be true. It's a scam. No, it's actually no. It's just, it can be dangerous if you're getting bad advice or you're investing irresponsibly. But man, if you invest responsibly, don't put in too much. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose, then it's definitely worth doing. Link is in the chat there. Yeah, it's just crazy time to be alive. I don't know, it's definitely worth getting in on. So yeah, that is that. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen this, but let me see. Oh, that was Charlie there, actually. Charlie, MLD, and myself. Let me see. Yeah, this was last year. I think it was last Christmas. That was it's myself, MLD, and Charlie. Good times. Good times. Tokyo trifecta. But yeah. I'm not selling says, what up, Playboy? Good stuff. Welcome to the chat. I don't think I've seen you in this chat before. Welcome to the stream. Player Life. Yeah, so today I want to talk about the idea that there is no free sex. And I kind of, at face value, I kind of agree with it. I kind of agree with it. Let's see. I'm not saying says, does Charlie pull bitches? Oh, you have to ask Charlie that. Yeah, Charlie's focused on making mad fucking gains. That's what he's focused on. He's not a complete degenerate like me and MLD, but Charlie can get bitches. Yeah, but he's not like he's not a complete degenerate like me and MLD. That's for sure. But it is what it is. He is making some serious bank. That's all. The thing is, like, pulling bitches is it's basically just pleasure. I mean, it's great. It's one of the best things in life. But the ROI on it, return on investment, is not, other than boosting your self-esteem and gaining pleasure, which is great, which is a huge part of life. Like, there's no ROI on it really, apart from pleasure. And you do need it, don't get me wrong. Like, it is something, like, if you have all the money in the world and you can't get bitches, then you're not going to be happy. Like, you're not going to be happy. But if you can get a load of bitches and you've no money, you're also not going to be happy. You're going to be a kind of a bum that gets laid. But who knows? It's arguable. Which is better? Have a bunch of money and never get laid, or to have no money and be getting laid all the time? I don't know which is better. I don't know. If I was given the choice of being a billionaire and never get laid again, like, it's hypothetical, obviously, hypothetically speaking. Like, if you were given a choice, like, you can be a billionaire, but you never have sex again, or be a bum and, like, a broke bum, and have continue to have all the great sex with a lot of women. I don't even think I'm gonna think about it for a second. I think I'm gonna take being a broke bum, but continuing to have sex. I mean, just imagine being a billionaire and never, it's hypothetical. Like, it's just a hypothetical thing, but all the money in the world isn't gonna make you happy either. So, but that's why you have the trifecta: money, muscles, game. Boom, baby. MLD. Shout out. But it's true. You do need balance. But I was just going off on. I saw this video. It was a Jordan Peterson video, but the title of it was, there is no free sex. And like I said, at face value, I agree with it. Because you're either you're paying, a lot of the time you're paying with time. Some guys are paying with money. Like, even when you aren't directly paying with money, you're paying. A lot of guys are paying for dates. Paying for gifts, paying for this, that, and the other. But the most common way is that you're paying with time and effort. It's just the process of pursuing sex is, that it takes it takes time. You just, like, that's why you need game. That is absolutely why you need game. But maybe we'll just watch the video, and I'll comment on it and see what it says. Share screen. All right, so this is the one that was titled "There is no free sex."
It's not like adolescents aren't confused about sex and their identity. That's what adolescence is confusion about sex and identity. In general,
you're confusion about everything. What do I do? Who am I?
Yeah, exactly. And no wonder, right? Because you have a lot of choices ahead of you. And it's a tumultuous time. There's a lot of neurological reorganization.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's too many choices.
Well, look, there's a huge literature on consumer choice. So let's say you might ask yourself, how many shampoos do you want to go look at when you're shopping? 1, 5, or 300? 5, exactly. Why not 300? Because one of those 300 is the best.
Diminishing returns on my investment.
That's for sure. And, like, how are you going to evaluate 300 items for quality? You just, no matter which one you pick, you've made a mistake. When you go into Subway.
It's kind of interesting, actually. It's an interesting point. it's kind of, in a way, that's, imagining what it's like from a female perspective. Yeah. A lot of the time, on this show, we're kind of critical of females, modern females, especially Western ones. However, when you put it like that, a lot of females are suffering from too much to choose from, basically because of the way the sexual marketplace has been set up, with dating apps and online dating and social media and all that. Women are inundated with choice, from thirsty beta men. So it's like it's almost like hard for them to choose like a good guy, or a guy. It's not even necessarily that they want a good guy, but we all know that women prefer bad boys, the bad boy type. And that's why we talk about, Troy Francis talks about, the dark triads. You need that. Being nice doesn't get you laid. I mean, being nice doesn't get you shit in life. It just doesn't. It's kind of a sad thing, but being nice doesn't really help. But yeah, it's just the abundance of choice. It's just they're inundated. They're inundated. They just kind of end up picking, like, especially with these online dating apps. Just too many thirsty men out there, and there is a lot of thirsty men out there, because they're just not able to. It's just very difficult for them to find a partner to have sex with. It's very difficult, and women just can't even understand that, because they have so much choice. So they just assume ones that are a lot of women are in their little bubbles. They're in their little, and they think, oh, men have just as much choice. It's like, it's crazy. It's such delusion. It's crazy amounts of delusion. They have no idea what, the struggle of what it actually takes for a man to go out, start from scratch, go out and get laid. For some men with game, and, it's like, it's not that hard, but it still takes a certain amount of effort. It still takes a certain amount of effort. That's for sure.
They say, how do you want your sandwich? Like, I want you to figure that out. That's why I'm paying for it. If I have to make every sandwich decision, I might as well make it. So people drown in choice very rapidly.
Right. Talk about anxiety, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, that is anxiety. It's terrible.
And I think women are drowning in choice. Yes, yeah, that's why the West is kind of drowning and sinking. There's too much choice, and it's just, it ends up, sometimes you can have so much choice that you'll procrastinate so much, and then you'll miss the boat. That's actually what's happening in Western society. Women have too much choice, for their jobs and careers, and then they have too much choice for men. They have too much. They have too many options, so that that makes them procrastinate and makes them delay the process. And then before they know it, they're 32 years old. Most of their eggs are scrambled or dried up, and it's too late. It's like they've kind of missed the boat, like, even biologically speaking. Biologically, like, it might not even be possible at that point to have a child, have a baby, because they were just procrastinating the whole thing. They were lied to by Western society. They were told that they're equal to men. Like, the thing that's insidious about Western society is that it's not only that they're told that they're equal to men, they're told that they're the same as men. We're told, men and women are told that we're both literally the same. You see, like, absurd shit going on that, why, you see these crazy articles coming out from places like the Guardian and these leftist, like, Marxist organizations they just have, like, absurd. It looks like parody. It looks like comedy. But you see crazy titles of articles saying why women should compete in men's sports, or why there should be no gender differences in sports, and why women were held back and from or women can compete with men. It's just that they haven't had they weren't trained correctly, or they haven't been trained. It's just crazy. It's garbage, man. It's just hilarious. I don't know. You gotta laugh at it in a way, but Go more hikes says Peterson is starting to look old. Indeed he is. I mean, he probably is old. I mean, what age is he? I don't know. How old is Jordan Peterson? Michael Dodd says time is your most valuable currency. That's a fact. Like, that is an understated fact. Absolutely. I mean, time. I mean, you cannot get it back. You just can't. It's like gone. Like, I'm spending time right now doing this live stream. It's time. You don't get it back. Like, we once it's spent up, it's done. And I don't know if you're religious or not, but once it's done, or it's over. Once that's another reason why it's you need to learn game. You absolutely need to learn game, because you want to enjoy life, and you want to if you want to be living the player lifestyle, then you really cannot be affording to go out on 3 or 4 dates with every girl you meet before you smash. And the thing is, even a lot of times, even when you do go out on the 3 or 4 dates with a girl, they'll put you in the nice guy category, and then they won't even want to smash you. And at the end of it, and like 3 or 4 dates can take up to like 5 or 6 weeks to complete. And then, I think, it's a long time since I made those mistakes, but I did make those mistakes in the past, and I learned from them. And you can say, "Oh, you got burnt," or yeah, I kind of did get burnt. I did. I got burnt. I spent all that time, and I learned from it. And I decided that, oh shit, there's something up here. This is not a good way to approach getting laid. It's really not. And I learned from it. And a lot of guys never learn from it. And a lot of guys will, instead of learning from it, they end up settling. They're like, oh, this isn't worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'm just going to get a girlfriend and I'll set. They're kind of just settling, not because they necessarily want a girlfriend, but because it's an easier option. It's like, it's easier. It's like, okay, I'm not going to have to do these like 5 or 6 dates before, and end up doing all these dates and then end up getting ghosted. Guys don't want to go through that process again. So they say, okay, I'll jump at the chance to get a girlfriend, and it's not necessarily what they want. It's just kind of a scarcity mindset that they have. Go More Hike says, yeah, I've wasted years of my life in the friend zone. Never again. Yeah, you can reach a point in your life when you kind of you don't go back. You kind of you can get burnt. I think sometimes it can be an accumulation of experiences. Other times it can be one experience that you get burnt from, and then you don't go back. But some guys do go back. That's the thing. They never learn. They don't learn from their mistakes, and or some guys can become red pilled, and they can they can go back into their blue pill ways, or it's the same with some guys learn game. They learn all this game, and then at the first time they hook up with a girl that they perceive to be high value, then they jump at the chance to get into a relationship, and and don't end up living the player lifestyle. It's all fine. It's fine if you genuinely want to be. I have no problem with guys that want to get into a relationship. That's fine. There's no issue with that. It's just guys that when guys do it out of scarcity, and it's like, oh, I just they don't want to risk being alone. They're lonely and they're like needy, and they just kind of yeah, it's not a good place to be. If you ever get into a relationship, you want to be doing it because you choose to do it. Because it's like I'm doing it because I like this girl, I want to be with her, not because you're fucking some lonely desperate guy that just like doesn't have any other options. Because what will happen in that case anyway, the girl will end up resenting you anyway, because she'll sense that kind of neediness from you. Not good.
Terrible anxiety, and too many choices is anxiety.
Hmm.
So, and it isn't like it's not like I know the answer to how much choice about your gender you should have, but I think that we need to recognize that there's wide variation in personality within women and within men, even though there are differences, and mostly men and women overlap, by the way. So we're more the same than we are different, except at the
Jordan Peterson's a big fan of saying that, and I don't really like it. The way he says we're more the same than we are different. And I disagree. I think we're so very different. But I don't know. Maybe it's one of the things he says to try and get normies on board with his. I don't know. I just don't agree with it. He says it a lot though. We're more the same than we are different. I disagree. Men and women are very different in so many aspects.
The extremes, and that matters. Like if you're low in agreeableness enough, 1 in 100, let's say, you're way more likely to be in prison. And so that's males.
Mm-hmm.
So there are not very many women in prison compared to men. And that's because at the extremes, there's a huge preponderance of aggressive men, physically aggressive.
It's very true. You can see a lot in this day and age. It's especially in the time of all this beer bug shit going on. You can see how agreeable women are way more than men. And I'm not saying there's a lot of agreeable men too. I mean, but especially women when it comes to getting the jab and all that shit, completely just complying, bowing down, just even enforcing it. It's like what happened. Even in the Second World War, women would apparently used to shame men. Not even just the Second World War, all kind of whatever the majority is doing. Women will usually, well, not usually, pretty much all the time, jump on board. Generally speaking, will jump on board with the majority, the winning side, the side that they perceive to be winning. Women will jump on board, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. It's just like, okay, it's the winning side. It's safe. It's it's a safety. That's what's so hilariously hilarious about the left these days. They think they're the rebels. They think they're the rebel side, and they're the most bootlicking motherfuckers ever. There's nothing rebellious about the left. Like there's nothing rebellious about I don't know. It's just in the way that there's nothing rebellious about criticizing Christianity anymore. Maybe back in the day there was, but like there's absolutely nothing dangerous or rebellious about criticizing Christianity, like the Christian church anymore, because there's no consequence to it. Like it's just you can do it openly in any Western society, and there's not going to be any consequence for it. The way they go out and say, the way they do it, and they're so the innocent bastards. That's what I like to call them, the innocent little bastards. They think that they're little rebels, like playing like those Antifa motherfuckers, thinking that they're little badasses when they're just bootlickers, little rat bastard bootlickers. And that's the whole left for me, fucking bootlickers. But yeah. It is what it is. In how it says, you have to make yourself have options so you know what you really want. Indeed. No one else is going to do it for you. Yeah. Spark 55 says that's absolute bullshit. Men and women are very different. I mean, it's obvious, but I mean, it's just one of those normie things that Jordan Peterson says. We're more the same than we are different. And it's like, I don't know why he says it, because he contradicts himself. You know, just I don't know why he says that. I think he's saying it just to get more people on board with his agenda, try and get, you know, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but he says it and it's kind of annoying. Go More Hike says gender difference is fundamental. Testosterone versus estrogen alone is a gigantic difference. I mean, absolutely. I don't know. It's one of the things that when Jordan Peterson says it annoys me. And he always says it.
Man, even though at the middle point, there's a lot of overlap. People don't understand this.
Maybe then the other side of the question is then, why are people so offended so easily? I think there's more difficulty for each side to speak to each other, people to use the right terminology and words and not offend someone than ever too. So why are people seemingly more easily offended?
That's a really good question. You know, it's hard to say because people have been offended for a long time. The moral majority was offended for a long time in the 80s, you know, I mean, and there was plenty of censorship and that sort of thing. Again, it's one of those things that's very difficult to track across time. It might be that we're exposed to more things that offend us now. I mean, you go on the net, if you can't find something to be offended by, you're not trying very hard. Well, that could just be it, right? I mean, imagine that. We never want to underestimate the impact of insane technological transformation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you can see everything all the time about anything. And so I don't know if people are more easily offended or if there's just way more offensive things.
So maybe it's a matter of just reducing the amount of options, reducing exposure. I mean, is this a remedy for clarity, for less volatility, less offensive, less chance to be offended?
Well, who knows, right? I mean, Twitter seems to be a good way of being offended continually. And offending, yeah. And, you know, that might be a consequence of its structure. It's limited. It seems to reward impulsivity. It seems to transmit bad better than good quite rapidly. We don't know what these technologies.
Yeah, people are definitely more offended in this day and age. I mean, people have always been offended, you know, but I don't know. Just we live in an outrage culture, and that's fine. But the problem I have with it is that, you know, these social media giants and you know, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they kind of bow down to it. Not only do they bow down to it, but they're enforcing censorship. They're, you know, they're kind of bowing down to, you know, outrage mobs and whatnot, getting people banned from, you know, banning people from social media, but getting people. Not only are people getting banned from social media, but in places like the UK, Australia, you know, Ireland, maybe even, I don't know. But you can get in trouble with, you know, Canada, you can get in trouble with the law. You can get like criminally prosecuted for hate speech. Like police can show up at your door, you know, or, you know, arrest you even for, you know, stuff you say on the internet. It's insane. And that's where the problem is, you know. You know, these lefty motherfuckers, these progressives go on about, you know, hey, your speech is violence. Your speech is violence. You're endangering me with your speech. Yet these motherfuckers are trying to like take away your freedom, trying to get you put in jail, trying to restrict your freedom. That's fucking violence. Like that is, you know, whatever, you know. Speech is not violence, right? Let's just be clear about that. You know, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words may never hurt me. You know, it's just you know, that's shit you say to, you know, in kindergarten to kids, but I mean, you have to say it to adults too, because in this day and age, in the current era, because yeah, what's going on is crazy.
it's due to people or to communication.
Mm.
Maybe, so I don't know if people are more easily offended than they used to be. They're offended about different things.
More things. Because
Yeah.
there's more things.
Yeah, possibly.
But-
I mean, it's been interesting to see what's happened with sex over the course of my lifetime. I mean, in the 60s, there was this.
I was wondering when they were going to get to this topic, because the title of the thumbnail was "There is no free sex," so maybe he's going to talk about it from here.
Idea, and it was probably the consequence of the birth control pill, that, well, maybe sex is free, right? It's free and easy, because, well, now pregnancy wasn't necessarily a consequence, and venereal disease was reasonably well under control, and so wasn't a blatant threat, certainly not a fatal one. And so people thought, well, why not free love? Well, I think the reason for that is it's complete rubbish. There's no free sex. It's too dangerous. And so what's happened is that
From an emotional standpoint, are you speaking about from an emotional standpoint or physically?
Physically and socially.
See, emotional standpoint. So that's why men and women are very different. That's one reason. Right? She assumes he's talking from emotional and an emotional standpoint, and obviously he's not. I mean, how would it be dangerous from like an emotional standpoint? Men can absolutely separate the two things completely, and that's where that's one of the biggest differences between men and women in regarding sex, is that for a man he can completely detach like emotion from it. It's like a physical act, but she doesn't get it.
Well, think of consent. Okay, when can you give consent? Well,
You're saying
the
what
answer is
age?
we don't know. No,
Or
under
like
what
what's
conditions?
the line?
Well, what constitutes consent? Exactly. A whim?
Yes.
What if you change your mind? What if you're intoxicated? What if you're stoned? What if you're upset? What if you feel you've been manipulated? I mean, because the issue of consent is not, if the act is serious.
Yeah, I mean, this is a thing that's going on. I think maybe it was Australia, where they're bringing in a new law where if you lie as a man, if you say, hey, you meet a girl in a bar and you say, hey, I'm this hotshot lawyer, I'm a millionaire, and the guy isn't. He works some normal job, and he works at McDonald's or whatever. I don't know. This is a crime now. I don't know if it's a crime now, but they're trying to make that a crime because it's manipulation, and obviously that should not be a crime. Obviously, I think there's under no circumstances do I think that should be a crime, but they're really trying to make that a crime. I believe it is Australia, but yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy time we're living in.
You can debate about whether or not that is, and people have their differences of opinion. Certainly emotionally significant in all likelihood. So if it's significant, well, then consent is important. Well, what constitutes consent? Well, marriage does. So that's where sex was encapsulated fundamentally, because the consent was never an issue. I mean, there's all sorts of things that weren't an issue because of that. And it wasn't like it was a magical solution to everything. But so, because in the sick
and marriage is just, there's no meaning for marriage anymore. It has absolutely no meaning anymore. I mean, marriage there used to be some value in it for men, but really there's not anymore. There's far too much risk that comes with it. There's no power in it. I mean, before, back in the day, the reason men would tolerate let's say would tolerate getting married is because there was a benefit to their life from it. But now in Western societies, there's just far too much risk. There's too much risk for it. There's no real benefit from it, because you can still you can still suffer the consequences. You could easily, your wife could turn around and say that, she didn't, even talking about consent, even though you're married, she could say, oh, I didn't give him consent, I didn't want to do it, and we ended up having sex, and you could get done for some grape or whatever, even though you're married. That's just one that's just one down, that's just one example of the many things that have changed. Obviously we all know about, how badly it goes generally for divorce. Like, if the man is wealthy, if he has money, even if he doesn't have money, even if there's children involved, the man is gonna, not gonna have any power. But if you have your finances, if you're a wealthy man and you're married, a woman can ruin your life, can just be entitled to half your shit. Apparently, even in cases where there's no children involved, which is nuts.
60s, the idea was that sex could be casual. Well, AIDS pretty much put the end to that idea, at least in part, right? So, and it definitely spread as a consequence of promiscuity. That was definitely one of the driving factors that put AIDS everywhere. So that was not so good, to put it mildly. And then the reaction on campuses is, well, what constitutes consent? And the reason that has become questionable is because it's questionable, unless it's not serious. But, I don't think that people really believe that. So they might wish they believed it, but there's plenty of emotional damage done as a consequence of too quick intimacy. I think that's generally the case because in a partnership that becomes intimate, there's usually one person who's more emotionally invested than the other.
Probably
almost inevitably, yes.
I think inevitably in every situation.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
They can still be very high, but someone's still going to be more than the other. So this kind of leads to the conversation about individuality being the way out.
Just speaking about that emotional side of things, I think women definitely approach sex in a more emotional way. So it could be a thing where man and woman hooks up, the man is not emotionally invested at all, and he just wants to smash, and the girl kind of is more emotionally invested, maybe thinks that there's a possibility of having a relationship. But if she finds out that the man just wanted to smash, she could get angry. She could, use her, female privilege to turn around and say that, she was manipulated, and, she only had sex under the, the idea that she, that there was going to be a relationship or whatever, and then she could come around and say, it wasn't consensual because of that. It's just a mess. The way things are going on in college campuses and just everywhere, pretty much. It's basically stripping men of any say, any power. It's just like at the whim, any kind of whim, a woman can turn around and say, I changed my mind. I did this, that, and the other. I don't know if it's true. Is it in America? If the man is if both the man and the woman are drunk, it's basically not consensual, even if they're both drunk, because the woman wasn't able to give consent. However, if the man is sober and if the man is drunk and the woman is sober, I don't know. Maybe that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. I thought we were all supposed to be equal. That's the funny thing. It's like the people that push all this like nonsense are the same ones that saying. The people that push all this like divisive nonsense are the ones that are shouting the loudest about how equal we are. How much the same, how there's no difference between men and women, how there's no difference between men and women. And I don't know who said it, but usually when someone is shouting something very loudly, usually it's not true. Tends to be a lie, because they're making up for it by getting hysterical and loud.
Of ideological traps. And the question is, how and what are the ways to know who you are? Because I don't think it's as easy as it sounds. Like,
it's impossible. People are really complicated. Yeah. You're way more complicated than anything else except another person, right? You're the most complicated thing that exists.
And put two complicated people together.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can help each other sort themselves out, at least to some.
I do agree with that point. I do agree that humans are complicated. So I don't necessarily believe in a totally good or bad person. There's a whole spectrum of it's also the same with like being brave and being a coward. Like there's no such thing as, like, there's obviously someone who is who's a complete coward, and then there are other people who are extremely brave, but there's like everyone in between. Like there's differences. In certain circumstances you could be brave, in certain circumstances you could be a complete coward. There's certain circumstances a person could be good, and there's certain circumstances where a person could be really bad. So people are made up of different things. But that's why it's such a shame, the way things go on on the internet, where people's lives can get ruined over something they say, like a tweet they did like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever. And the tweet might not even be that bad, but they can get fired from their jobs and get blacklisted, all kinds of shit. It's fucked up. Don't agree with it at all.
Don't agree, but yeah, I mean, to be self-aware completely is just not possible, because what we try to do to understand ourselves is limit what we'll do. You do that to other people too. Say, well, I know you, and then you punish them if they do things you don't understand. That way they stay in the box you put them in, and there's downside to that and an upside. It's part of the social contract not to do outrageous things, although you could. So we all abide by these rules, and that simplifies us a lot. Mm-hmm. Right. That's part of being polite, is you don't want the bank teller to be complex. You want them to be polite and simple. Mm-hmm. So your limited understanding is sufficient. And we do that with each other all the time, except when we're emotional.
How do you find the individuality, your uniqueness, your specialness?
Well, that probably manifests itself to a large degree in what you're interested in.
Which is difficult to know. I think that's also difficult to know. I felt like it took into my mid-30s before I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really interested in these things.
Mm-hmm. Were you interested in all sorts of things?
Sure. Yeah. When I was young, I did all sports. I, then was a teenager, but it wasn't until I was really in my 30s that I really realized how much I enjoyed art, how much I enjoyed, creating and artistic things, how much I enjoyed nature, how much I enjoyed traveling and alone time, because I'm a bit of an introvert. So it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s till I figured that out. So to me, that creates some of my individuality. That's who I am. But how do people figure that out so that they know who they are, so they don't fall into ideological traps?
Kind of on that point, it's kind of reminds me of just the way she started talking about how it's not until she's in her 30s. It's kind of like how women a lot of times in their party years, they will they'll try really hard to be sexually appealing to men. Like they'll put a lot of effort into their looks, and they'll wear like fashionable, sexy clothes, high heels. They'll get their nails done. they'll go to a hair salon, they'll do all that stuff, and they'll put a lot of work into it. But it's kind of ironic, like how, then when they hit the epiphany phase, they'll start getting interested in going on in these kind of wholesome activities, like hiking, like cooking, like, they'll put less effort into their looks. And it's just hilarious, because it's a time when they should be trying even harder, because it's like, it's the time when they're trying to like bag it, like it's the epiphany phase. So they realize they want to settle down, and that's the whole point of it. They realize that they want to find a man, they want to get married, they want to have children, but they start rejecting like all that stuff. They start thinking that if they get involved in these, like, wholesome activities, that they're going to find a man. But if they don't put the effort in to look good, it's not, because initially for men, it's like visually, that's what hooks us in. That's what hooks us in. But the thing is, like, that'll hook us, and then you build up an emotional, a connection after that, but initially you're going to need, like, you need to like look good. And women really, really hate that. And that's why I think when women hit the epiphany phase, it's like almost like the panic phase. Like, it's because they don't. It's like it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I've seen it so many times, where I've seen these women that I know have been in the party years, and I've seen how they used to dress, what they used, they'd be partying, going to clubs, trying to look like super hot, trying to look as good as they can. Then they'll hit that, like, 28, 29, 30, and they'll start, they'll stop putting effort into their looks. And it's like, it's just funny, because it's like, it's a time when it's like, shit, you need to be trying even harder, because, yeah, it's funny.
Well, so the first question is knowing yourself the way out of an ideological trap? Well, it is to some degree, because one size doesn't fit all, right? So you have to be aware of how you differ. Mm-hmm. And that does take a long time to figure out who you are, because you're complicated. Mm-hmm. So it might not be that surprising at all that it took you till your mid-30s before you started to have some sense of who you really were, because people are very hard to understand. And we don't have a good vocabulary, generally speaking, for analyzing differences in people. I mean, the personality test I described is a step in that direction, but it's that lexicon, that vocabulary still isn't popularly established, let's say. So it isn't part of the conversations we have about other people, except accidentally. I produced this other technology at self-authoring that helps people write about their past, analyze their faults and their virtues, and write a plan for the future. It's a useful way of figuring out who you are.
By the way, if you're only figuring out who you are by your mid-30s, especially for women, that is definitely leaving it. That's leaving it a bit too late. That's for sure. This title was a little bit misleading. They touched on. I'll stop sharing that now. But they touched a little bit about, there is no free sex. It was a little bit misleading, but Go More Hike says, until people like Peterson gets wiped out by divorce and false charges made against them, the marketplace won't change. Very true. Go More Hike says, I'm surprised that marriage hasn't dropped to zero yet. There's all, because most people are blue pill normies. That's why. The thing is, like, even as bad as marriage is, there are hordes of beta blue pill men lining up to wife up post-wall women. The desperation is real, guys. Don't underestimate it. Like they're like, you might. It's kind of almost like, you know, sometimes we can get it twisted because, you know, we think we're a very small part of the world, like percentage of the overall population, the red pill community. It's very small. You know, I used the analogy before with MLD when I said that, you know, go outside, you know, well, especially in somewhere like Japan, but you know, we were outside. I was out with MLD, and you know, obviously everyone in Japan is like wearing face masks, and like literally 99.9%. You go outside, you see someone without a face mask, they're the 0.001% of the population. That is a representation of the red pill. That is a representation. So the reason marriage hasn't dropped to zero is because there's still men out there willing to wife up post-wall, you know, feminist women, because out of desperation, out of scarcity, and they haven't encountered the red pill. They haven't swallowed it. It's maybe too painful for them to do so. I don't know why men don't. Sometimes, you know, when you first encounter the red pill, the reason it's so satisfying is because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, these things, you know them innately, you know the truths or innately, but it's so satisfying to hear them being vocalized, being, you know, that's why, you know, people get stuck in the red pill masturbatory phase, because they just indulge in it, because it can be so satisfying to hear your ideas being vocalized. Like that's, you know, we always knew these things, but it's just like, oh shit, it's like someone saying it. It's like, damn, that's it. That's exactly it. You know, saying these, like a lot of them are simple truths. You know, they're just simple, basic truths, and that's, you know. But yeah, don't underestimate how many guys out there that are blue pill. The vast majority of people are. Gomor Hike says 30s. Yeah, she had less men knocking on her door. Indeed. Yeah. So yeah, no, you know, women will yeah, women like that, you know. Yeah, it's funny though. Yeah, I've seen it time and time again when they'll once they're over the party years, it'll be like, you know, time to find themselves, and they'll start, you know, they'll want to settle down, they'll want to find a husband and all that, and it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't, you know, you can't start, you know, dressing down and going on, you know, wanting to do all this wholesome shit after you've given your best self away, you know, to however many guys, and you know, you stop trying to look good, and you start, you know, I don't know, it's just a funny thing. I've seen it so many times, like, you know, but you know, they will learn. It's like when women, you know, they're ready to settle down. They're in their late 20s, early 30s, and they'll start increasing their value. They'll start increasing their price tag, you know, not their value. They'll start increasing their price tag and kind of decreasing as their value is decreasing. That's what I mean. And it's like, that's not how it works, you know. I've talked about it before, but it's you know, it's just pure delusion. It's like they get it so messed up. But like I said, there's so many guys out there that would wife women like that up. However, these women don't want guys like that. They see they're increasing their price tag, so they think that they're entitled to you know, a 6 foot 6 figure, you know, whatever very high value man, let's just say. And they're not willing to settle for those beta loser guys because they increase their price tag so much. But it's, you know, innocent bastards. Let's just say that. let them at it. But yeah, guys. As usual, like, comment, subscribe. You know, get in on the you know, the cultivate the crypto mindset course if you haven't already. I think it closes today. Check out the link in the description. Help me out. Use my affiliate link. Definitely, if you're looking to improve your finances, it's going to be a good way to do it. It's a definitely. MLD said to me last week, this is like a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity to make like the. If you invest correctly and wisely and sensibly, it can be the easiest money you ever make in your life. And like, yeah, it's definitely worth getting in on. But let me just see. Go More Hike says, yeah, for some reason Ben Affleck is dating 51-year-old Jennifer Lopez again. Yuck. I mean, back in the day she was hot, but god damn, 51 years old. Yeah, he must be blue pill. There's no other reason. What, like, that guy could have, you know, 21-year-old hotties. Like, you know, he's famous, he's rich, you know. I don't know, blue pill, man, not good. Let him at it though. Let them at it. Just let them do it. You know, it is what it is. Go More Hike says, yep, I have a crypto portfolio now. Crypto is just it's just a nuts, man. If you're involved in it, it's yeah, you're doing the right thing. It's just a special time. It's still new technology. It's not even, you know, it's just it hasn't even taken off fully yet. So if you're involved in it, you know, you can make some serious gains. And I've definitely made some life-changing gains that I never thought I could make. But yeah, if you're interested in that, definitely sign up to the course and use my affiliate link. So I'm going to cut it there, and I'll be back tomorrow night for another episode of Player Life, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Japanese Standard Time. So until then, peace out, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.